It's that most wonderful time of year again, where I get to continue my new tradition of showcasing my most anticipated games for the coming year. My personal interests lie primarily with lesser known, often weirder indie games, and as always my list is the same. Wish us what you like, and do let me know if I showed you something new. "1000X Resist" begins with the assassination of a god. Not by a group of intrepid JRPG adventurers or a violent anti-hero, but her child, her follower, her clone. We flash back 6 months, when our still loyal assassin Watcher delves into the memories of the All-Mother. Simple exploration is punctuated by an eerie, droning, whale call-like soundtrack in the soft-spoken tones of a fully voice-acted cast, slowly revealing the lore of a dying world, the outbreak that killed it, and the agonizingly real story of the once mortal god at the epicenter of it all. At the moment, Animal Well is most well known as Video Game Donkey's soon-to-be firstborn son, the first game published by his much-talked-about publishing label Big Mode. And that's a bit of a shame, as helpful as I'm sure the press has been, because Animal Well really is shaping up to be something special. Its visuals are deceptively simple, developing with every single frame, and further punctuated by equally oniric sound in the form of glittering music and some nice, crunchy sound effects. This is a dangerous and mysterious world, and that's not just a marketing thing either. After getting hands-on with Animal Well at PAX East, any reservations I had about its particular definition of mystery were completely assuaged. I can't wait to play the world's first open well game. Like any plant lover, I occasionally have to hold myself back lest I take over my entire apartment with plants, so it's really nice to have a virtual world to vicariously live through. Botany Manor is a straight-up plant-person puzzle game, focused on finding the best available growing conditions for aesthetically pleasing plants on a sprawling estate. You'll rifle through old letters and research books to find each plant's preferred elevation, temperature, humidity, and any other quirks they may have, and replicate all that to keep them happy. The more plants you grow, the more you unlock, gradually filling out the manor as you go along. The slice of life genre, especially as it pertains to video games, has a reputation for being comfy, cozy, #wholesome, with the occasional bittersweet gut punch. But Closer the Distance is instead employing that storytelling device to chronicle the intense aftermath of a loved one's death. A community of friends and family, each with their own unique backstories and personalities, are left to grieve after you're taken too soon. Watch over from the beyond, and ultimately choose how the rest of this story goes. Employee citizens work hard and pay to win hard in CorpoNation: The Sorting Process, a hellishly dystopian vision of a life beholden to the power shoulder lived on company script. Engage in a menuing simulation, sorting through piles of genetic samples as rebel workers intermittently vie for your attention and try to draw you out of the Ringo CorpoNation's influence.
Productivity is in your nature. Ringo appreciates that a rested mind empowers the grind. As an employee citizen, you will also be given access to the finest shopping and entertainment. It is your duty to put your money back into the economy. When it comes to the CorpoNation, growth is strength.
Are you ready to begin your exciting new life? Good luck. Work hard.
I'm not the only one eagerly anticipating Creature Keeper's release if the over $50,000 raised on Kickstarter is anything to go by. That makes sense. I, like many, have been itching for another creature collector where you can fight in tandem with your companions. It sells itself really well, with an earthy, aged look about the whole thing and hectic dogpile fights to show off the real-time combat. Some farming, crafting, and cooking elements serve to only further deepen the bond between you as you work together to help heal a sick world. SFB Games is best known for their beautiful 2D animation and quirky sense of humor, as exemplified with their series Detective Grimoire, which will be receiving its latest release, The Mermaid's Tongue, this year. But that's not the game I'm here to talk about. In a frankly shocking genre switch-up, SFB Games revealed a straight-faced, grimy 90s survival horror title will be coming this year too. Crow Country, despite the obvious and PG-13 differences, still holds the signature charm and attention to ambience of all other SFB Games titles, clear in the diorama-esque environmental shots throughout the trailer. Additionally, the promise of an exploration mode for players who want to experience the story without worrying about combat a la Soma will surely be appreciated. Death Trick Double Blind's presentation and art style give it such a professional look, it's hard to believe that it is, at its core, made by two best friends fulfilling their school day dreams of making a game together. What they've chosen to make is a detective visual novel, one that plays out in the classic story setting of a mid-1900s circus. The star magician has gone missing, and it's up to two separate investigators, one professional private eye and one magical colleague of the disappeared, to navigate the web of intrigue entangling the performers, the circus, and everything around them. Dungeons of Hinterberg is an Austrian Alpine action-adventure RPG where protagonist Louisa has chosen to spend her well-deserved holiday slaying monsters in the world-renowned, dungeon-infested village of Hinterberg. There's plenty to do as far as a more standard vacation is concerned, like snowboarding, meeting new people, and enjoying the scenery, but it's the catharsis and fantasy of dungeon exploration that we, and Louisa, are really here for. You might have seen a game called Pseudo Regalia getting some notoriety in the latter half of 2023, owing to its slick 3D action platforming, which allowed players to experiment with combinations of combat and movement to dramatic effect. You might not have known that Pseudo Regalia was a break for the developer from working on an even more ambitious 3D action platformer, Electrokinetic. It takes that idea of platforming experimentation to the absolute extreme, transforming from a linear action-adventure to a roguelike. And as with any roguelike, you'll gain abilities and power up as your run goes on. Only in Electrokinetic, those are platforming abilities, and you'll be building your own moveset as you delve deeper into each digital world. Straight from developer and artist Richard Hogg's mouth, Flock is a game about exploring a big wild place on the back of a bird. This multiplayer-enabled adventure takes a decidedly more peaceful approach to creature collectors, encouraging collaborative play not only with your fellow humans, but also the airborne animals that inhabit the rolling hills and russet foliage of this place. At the risk of boarding the dreaded hype train, I really do think that Hollow Ponds has yet another hit on their hands. Sporting a distinct and charmingly grungy art style, Forklift Flowerpot is a weird little gem, a game that's paradoxically small, yet doing a lot of things at once. There are environmental puzzles influenced by changing seasons, a board game played with giant tomato gods, and a full conspiracy board of all the people, places, and things that you'll use to uncover the mysteries of the Accordion Isles and the company that brought you here.
Learning about people is a kind of adventure, a way of exploring lots of little worlds.
It's a well-known fact now, particularly to the animation aficionados, that stop-motion animation is almost as wonderful as it is time-consuming. The team behind Halibut was able to streamline it, at least somewhat, through a careful combination of real miniatures and models, motion capture, and 3D animation, all without sacrificing the inherent flair of stop-motion. What they've chosen to do with that hard-earned time looks nothing short of amazing, creating an entire city and an appropriately large cast of characters on board a submerged ship. I think it's easy to see why this cinematic narrative adventure has found itself as one of my most anticipated games for the coming year.
To the cave?
Yes.
To investigate the source of the particles?
Humans are so unpredictable and complicated. There is almost nothing to understand.
Please witness the future of Fedora.
I thought you said it wasn't a vote. It's not. I just happen to agree with them.
Himig is a sentimental rear view of a childhood in the exurban Philippines, following two school children as they learn, connect, grow, and overall lay the foundation of who they're going to be. Atmosphere is big here, as much of your day-to-day gameplay will involve simply walking around the idyllic town and experiencing a simpler life at the peak of youth. I love a bucolic building sim, but it's hard to find one that threads the needle between being relaxing and actually giving the player tools to create and fulfill goals. So I love the way that Horticular makes tending a garden into a sort of aesthetic environmental puzzle. You'll have to balance your desired design with the needs of local wildlife, ensuring that your land can attract and care for these creatures in the hopes of one day restoring every barren acre that surrounds your home.
Was it my hat, Andrew?
Horror comedy is a really underutilized genre mashup to me, especially in video games. We'll see at least one addition to it with DeMornay Is A Slumlord and a Witch, a title that makes it clear how unafraid this game is to swing big. Perhaps unsurprising, considering these are the developers of Queer Man Peering Into a Rockpool.jpg. Yes, that is the game's name. This game will take players on an escape room-style journey as a gaggle of queer housemates try to survive their tenancy, dodging both run-of-the-mill landlord malice and otherworldly malfeasance alike.
Next time,
I mean, we have
you let me in.
But yeah, yeah, of course.
Oh,
come on.
wonderful. Yes, they let me in.
Hello.
From the creators of surrealist hit How Fish Is Made comes Mouthwashing, a more humanistic but no less existential approach to narrative horror. The space freighter Tulpar and her 5-strong crew find themselves stranded far off course with little to no hope of rescue, powers running out fast and food even faster. The cargo hold could contain sweet salvation, though its contents are unknown to the crew and, in fact, strictly off limits. Nine Souls is the somewhat unexpected next project from Red Candle Games, the Taiwanese studio behind critically acclaimed titles Detention and Devotion. Although I presume Nine Souls will have at least some horror elements here and there, the major through line is of Taiwanese history and culture, with a unique Taoism cyberpunk aesthetic, named Taopunk. At a basic level, Nine Souls seems to be a relatively standard Metroidvania, albeit with an increased focus on deflection and parrying. And although Metroidvanias have grown quite stale for me personally, I'm still immensely excited. Red Candle Games' storytelling ability is very well documented at this point, and being able to explore a brand new world that they've created will be a joy in and of itself. Octopus City Blues is an art pervert's dream. It's absolutely surreal, set in the phantasmagoric Octopus City, where giants live in the sewers and tentacle trimmers risk being eaten by public transit vehicles on their way to work. This adventure game relies on its population, each with their own schedules, eccentricities, and most importantly, gossip. Rumors and hearsay are some of your most important tools for navigation and puzzle solving alike, and there are plenty of questions to ask and answer in Octopus City. It's time to order some more liquid liner and a fresh set of chucks to Sharpie all over, cause Small Town Emo finally has a release window. Set in 2007 New Zealand, Small Town Emo is a retro coming-of-age story, with unofficial Game Boy graphics to match. The game's dripping with dated charm, be that from unfortunately relatable teen angst, numerous emo-isms, or the playful banter between friends. And maybe more. Thank Goodness You're Here describes itself as a slapformer, presumably a portmanteau of slapstick and platformer, immediately conjuring the histories of both British workaday humor and irreverent indie platformers. Not dissimilar to Alien Hominid or Super Meat Boy, it feels like a bunch of Newgrounds teens went and grew up, never having lost their passion to make weird shit for people like me. A surprising but welcome spiritual successor, Thrasher comes to us with at least one returning core developer from the 2016 rhythm action game, Thumper. Psychedelic visuals, driving sound, and an intertwined audio-visual experience remain, while there are distinct differences. Thrasher differs from its predecessor's on-rails, on-beat, rhythmic gameplay with something more free-form, describing itself as a cosmic racer. Likewise, the music takes on a more funky, melodic, electronic feel, leaving behind the oppressive and violent sounds of Thumper, while maintaining all the weirdness. Towers of Aghasba began life as the mononymous Towers, a pie-in-the-sky prototype made by a measly 6 developers. It was extremely impressive 5 years ago, and it's still impressive now. Perhaps even more so because, against all odds, it's becoming real. The world building and art direction is absolutely fascinating. A blend of solarpunk-esque futurism and old-world fantasy I feel like I haven't seen since Final Fantasy XII. Contrary to that though, Towers is a multiplayer sandbox game, one with an emphasis on base building and PvE elements, as opposed to survival or combat. As insufferable as those thrift flipper types are, I can't deny that that sort of fine, fiddly restorative work is a huge draw for me. The idea of digging through trash and grime with none of the smell and all of the cool finds is extremely alluring, and Trash Goblin only makes that dream even more desirable with its humble, down-to-earth fantasy setting. And there you have it, my top 24 most anticipated games for 2024. As per usual, you know, if you're into indie games, lesser known indie games, weird indie games, be sure to follow me. You can pitch into the Patreon that I have with my two friends. That's patreon.com/pressedpedals. I cover indie games there. My friends cover indie games there. And so no matter what you like, whether it's wholesome, comfy, cozy, weird horror stuff, experimental narrative stuff, stuff that makes you cry, we are probably going to talk about the indie games there or on any of our streams. So yeah, thank you very much. As per usual, be sure to wishlist these games. Steam links are in the description, and I will see you next time. Bye!